Good morning to everyone in the USA. It's 10 a.m. Eastern, and good afternoon to everybody in the UK. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is Steven, live from wonderful Wiltshire. And I'm on the OneStream.Live YouTube channel. And thank you for joining me. If you're catching the replay, thank you. You'll find lots of hints, tips. Well, I could actually show you what we're talking about. I can actually show you. We're talking about fixing your streaming problems in 5 minutes. I want to say thank you to the OneStream.Live graphics team for the graphic, and take that off solo and come to me and the graphic. And if we go here, we're back. Okay, now one thing I do need to do is to actually just change my background. So I'm going to go down here and choose a background. Okay, I think we'll have this one today, and I'm going to swap over so that I am here. Okay, so we're talking about problems when you're live streaming. Now, the thing is that we know, I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years now. Occasionally there are going to be problems, but I have to say that the vast majority of live broadcasts go smoothly. What I'm talking about today is when they don't go smoothly, which is sort of a rarity. Well, it does happen. I mean, I was broadcasting live with Nick Wood last Tuesday, and we were broadcasting on Amazon.com. So we're broadcasting to Nick's Amazon page and to my Amazon page, and things were going swimmingly until I got a message on my iPad from Amazon which said, your broadcast has been stopped because you were playing video for too long. And they assumed that this was pre-recorded, but it wasn't. It was a false positive, and Nick and I have been talking away, but I think this background deceived everybody because they must have thought that this was well, it looks like a video, but it's not. So we were taken off air. So what do you do? Well, the thing that you do in every live broadcast is to stay calm, keep calm, and just carry on. There are going to be problems occasionally, and like the one with Nick, the answer was simple and straightforward. Finish the broadcast, because we were broadcasting on Amazon and Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. So we stopped the broadcast and I started the broadcast again, just broadcasting live to Amazon, and we're live again within about 5 or 6 minutes. And we carried on the show. We carried on the Trivia Plaza movie quiz, and we just carried on talking and chatting and marketing. So don't panic. Because nobody knows that things have gone wrong. You know that things have gone wrong, but other people don't. Remember that. So our agenda today, if I scroll down here, and I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom here, I'm going to bring it on screen. The agenda is here, and add it to stream. So there's the agenda. And we're troubleshooting live streaming problems. We're going to be tips and fixes along the way through. But I just want to say this again, and I can't say it too often. The vast majority of live broadcasts run without problems. And hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, don't need to do that really. I mean, we're streaming through OneStream.Live, which is extremely reliable, and we rarely have problems. So I'm doing the introduction now. Then I'm going to talk about prevention of problems. In other words, what can you do to stop problems arising? Then I'm going to talk about connection problems. And after my broadcast last week about VPNs, we're going to talk about using a VPN to improve your signal. And then I'm going to repeat the phrase throughout the whole of this program, which is keep calm. Keep calm and carry on as though nothing has happened. Right, and then plan your broadcast. If you plan a broadcast, then you know exactly what we're going to be talking about. Just like having this agenda here, I know what I'm talking about at each section of the broadcast. And if you plan it, that's a lot better and less likely to actually get problems. Cameras and microphones, those are two essential elements in every live broadcast. And we're going to be talking about what we can do in regards to those. And if we've got guests, if we have guests on the show, like I did on the show a couple of weeks ago, you've got 6 guests there, all of whom have got their own cameras and microphones. So you may have a lot to deal with because your guests have got to have their cameras and microphones. In the photograph, you can see Mr. Nick Wood. You can see my friend from Belgium, my friend from Ireland, my friend from South Africa, my friend from Portugal, all on the broadcast at the same time, and all with cameras and microphones working perfectly. And basically, I'll tell you the secret to that later in the broadcast. Come back to the menu, okay, and go here. Okay, so I'm still here, but you've got the photograph of my friends up above. So guests, you've got to take additional steps when you have guests on your program. The show assets. Assets are things that you're actually going to use in the broadcast. Now, in the broadcast today, I've got everything set up. I've got the card to show you. I've got my camera. I've got the images that I'm going to be using throughout the broadcast, and I preload those into my studio and check that they actually work on screen. So when I go like this, I know that you're going to be able to see the graphic I want you to see. And that's important, getting all the graphics in place. Now, music, we're going to come on to music. One of the biggest problems that we have is on Facebook and YouTube. If you play music which is copyrighted, then it's quite possible that your broadcast will be stopped, because there are AI systems at work on both Facebook and YouTube, and if you play anything that they recognize, then they will take you off air and no questions. And there is a strikes policy. You can't consistently do that because you'll have further problems. Music, most of the problems that are caused are music problems, where you're actually playing music which is copyrighted, and that is enough to get you taken off air. If you're using OneStream.Live and broadcasting to your website, you might get around it. But as soon as you start broadcasting to Facebook and YouTube, they're going to catch you out. And it doesn't matter whether you play 30 seconds or 3 minutes of music. The biggest saving that we've got is restarting the studio. I'll talk about that later. Having a backup plan is good. I've got a backup plan in place today in case anything goes wrong. And I'm just checking top right-hand corner. Nothing is going wrong. My signal is good. And the thing is, what you've got to do is monitor your signal throughout the broadcast, because that is important. So all those areas have potential problems, but keep calm, and the majority of broadcasts go without any problems at all, and that's what we're going for on this broadcast today. Now, if you have problems whilst you're broadcasting, can you please put them in the comments? And for the comments, if I go over here and I go to the chat, I'm going to say hello. Just a minute. Just let me sort this out. Right. So that hello comment should have gone through to YouTube. If you're watching me live, thank you. If you're watching the replay, thank you. If you have any problems when you're live broadcasting, which you want a solution to, then please do type them in the comments now, or after the broadcast, you can type them below, and I will be checking this video. I did a video last week, and I'm checking that every day for comments. I'm checking that for updates. I'm checking the viewing figures, because they're all important, aren't they? Definitely. So let's go back to the agenda again, bring that on screen. Like so. Everything's going to go swimmingly today. So the introduction, and the thing I do want to say is that problems are a rarity. Most broadcasts just go. We forget about them. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of live broadcasting, let's go back to the beginning of Facebook Live, there were problems. There were video problems and there were sound problems. You don't get that so much these days, but there are things that you can do to actually make sure that when you go live, you don't have problems. And we'll be talking about those. To me, live broadcasting is the best way of actually getting your message across, telling your stories. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at several stories as in the agenda and take our time because there's no rush today. And come over here and right, prevention of problems is the big thing. There are things that we can do proactively to prevent problems. If you can prevent problems from arising, then you're making progress. I'm just going to go over here and here. Just give me a second. If I go down here, just a minute, I've lost something. Oh, that's where I want to go. I'm just going to take the keep calm off. We'll be showing keep calm later. Okay, now I've got to tell you that every Sunday night, I broadcast every day during the week, but every Sunday night, what I do is I quite simply sit down and I test the cameras and microphones that I'm going to be using during the week. Okay, I come into the studio, my OneStream.Live studio, with the cameras and the microphones, and I do a local recording, about 2-3 minutes, to make sure that the camera is set up correctly, to make sure the microphones are working. You can do that, and you should do that every week. The thing is that we are in a situation where there are updates going on, and they're updates that we know nothing about. Primary one of those is Microsoft. Now, the number of times that a Microsoft update has actually broken, well, not broken, but stopped my microphones from working properly, I've lost count. So that's why I do a test on a Sunday evening to make sure that my microphone is working well. Now, at the moment, I've got 3 microphones. 2 of them are working beautifully. 1 has got intermittent problems. If I was broadcasting with the one with intermittent problems, then my sound level would keep fluctuating. And we know that sound is so important to a live broadcast. It's as important as the camera. Yeah. We know that if you have a camera and your camera feed sort of goes hazy for a moment, people stay with that. But as soon as your sound level starts to fluctuate and go up and down, or becomes has interference on it, as soon as the microphone is a problem, then people go and do something else. We've all got shorter attention spans these days, and if you've got bad sound, people will walk and they'll vote and they'll go and watch somebody else. So you need to test your microphone and make sure that it's working, ready for the start of your week. Camera updates you normally do manually, so you're in control. Well, it's a Logitech camera or an Obspot or an Exigo. You've got to download the software and update. Every time you do a software update, do check that it's still working, because we get updates through from Obspot and Exigo and Logitech, and we need to make sure that they're working. Okay, now, as you can see there, the sun is shining. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of Barry Loxton's photo images. Barry lives in Sarnia in Ontario, and Barry has very kindly supplied me with these images. So this is another problem. Basically, today in the UK is sunny. And you noticed a moment ago that the sun was actually shining through a gap in the curtains. That's bad, okay, because that's distracting. So now that I've got a virtual camera, and I'm using vcam.ai as my virtual camera, and I've got 10 fingers, and I can move around, and I can show you the picture. Yeah, do consider having a virtual background removal system like vcam AI, so that you can basically, not only can you change the way you're telling your stories, but you can get rid of any annoyances on screen. You want to look as good as you can all the time, okay? And green screens and images can help you to do that, really. So check your cameras, check your microphones, do local recordings, make sure that everything's working. Okay, now you can't stop things going wrong, but what you can do is to have a plan B. And you could have, hopefully, if you've got access to 2 cameras, do test both cameras. If you've got access to 2 microphones, do test both microphones at the beginning of the week, so you can actually swap from your main camera to another camera if there's a problem. Okay, there could be a problem with picture, there could be a problem with sound. Having 2 cameras and 2 microphones removes that. And it could be something, it doesn't have to be an expensive microphone. Your second one could be a lapel microphone like this one. Okay, if you have a standby microphone, I'm just going to come up here. If you have a standby microphone like this one, which is about $35, well, $33 last time I looked. If you're using this as a standby microphone, you can switch very easily, because in your studio, irrespective of system, but it's very easy to do in OneStream.Live, I can switch from one microphone to another. So my standby microphone would be Blue Yeti or the Elgato Wave 3, or, yeah, so I've got 4 mics. I've got 4 cameras as well. I'm redundancy after redundancy. I can switch between cameras. All I have to do to switch cameras is basically put one of the standard cards on back in 5 minutes, change everything, and then come back. Okay. In the OneStream.Live studio, that is simple and straightforward to do, because you can put up a card which is pre-prepared and bring it on screen. Okay, so your own camera and microphone, redundancy, yeah? And prevention of problems is basically check everything every week, make sure it's working as it should. Now, the next one is the internet. Okay, and the internet is, well, we need the internet. We need good internet. Let me just change the background again. Another one of Barry's pictures. If I go down here and we go here, and let's have a different topic. Let's go here. Okay. The internet. We're reliant on the internet. Now, if you have ultra fast broadband, it's not a problem. If you don't, if you have any problems with your supplier, then what you can do, and I'm just going to go down here, one of the solutions is to use a VPN. Now, I did a broadcast last week about VPNs. We want a steady internet signal. And if you look at the bottom diagram, we're going from my computer to the internet service provider, the ISP, and out to the internet. Secure connection. Right. Okay. Now, basically, that means that we're relying on the speed of the internet service provider. However, if we have a VPN, we're reliant on the speed of the VPN server. Now, the thing about using a VPN is that your transmissions are actually encrypted by a client that you download onto your desktop. So you've got your computer, a VPN client, which you download to your desktop. That goes to the internet service provider. Service provider doesn't know where you're streaming to. The VPN server keeps no logs at all. And you then go out to the internet. Now, the thing is, I watched a video on YouTube of a Twitch gamer, and he had a problem with latency. Now, if you're streaming a game, what you don't want is latency, because people won't watch a video which is lagging, yeah, and jumpy. So by using a VPN, you can overcome this, because the VPN signal, the VPN server, is going to be possibly more powerful than your ISP server. So that's a way to actually get a constant internet signal, which is important to the quality of your broadcast. So do take a look at VPNs. NordVPN is the market leader, and Surfshark is just slightly behind, but there are benefits. I watched a video on YouTube. I'm always watching videos comparing NordVPN with Surfshark, and they've both got the pros and cons. and it depends what you're trying to do. So do look at VPNs to actually steady your internet signal. If you're having a problem, that could be a solution without, right? And my antivirus wants to clean up. I don't want it to clean up now. I want to carry on broadcasting. The systems look after you rather than you looking after them. So I was getting a message through there that said my system actually wanted to do house cleaning, but not whilst I'm live. What you don't want is any software running in the background whilst you're live, which is why when you're broadcasting live, I've only got 2 tabs open. Yeah, I've got my studio and I've got my notes about this broadcast, which I can refer to at any time. What I do before every broadcast is I go over and I go to the software, to Grammarly, and I make notes. I put links in so I can go back and watch videos about the topic. So each topic I do on OneStream.Live has a Grammarly sheet all about it, and it's live, and I can go and click on it if I forget my words. But I don't forget my words because what I've actually got is an agenda. So as far as connection problems, 2 things. One, only have 2 tabs open at most, and if you do have problems, then do try a VPN because it could improve your signal. Now, I'm not giving warranties with this. I'm just saying try it. I know that as far as mobile is concerned, mobile phones are concerned, as soon as I put Surfshark VPN onto my phone and to my iPad, they just got faster. Simply got faster. Okay, now the next thing, keep calm. This is important. I can't tell you how important this is. Keeping calm during a live broadcast. Okay, when Nick and I had the problem last Tuesday on Amazon where we were misidentified as playing video instead of being live, we just stopped, set up a new broadcast, and we're live within 5 to 6 minutes. So if you have a situation where you've got problems, and that could be problems with your camera or your microphone or with the service you're actually broadcasting to, then just stop. Yeah, it's pointless carrying on if you've got sound problems or you've got latency problems, any problems at all which are affecting the quality of your video. I would just pull the plug on that broadcast before you go, say, I'll be back in 5 minutes time or 10 minutes time. Be realistic. I'll be back in 10 minutes time in the same place. Go and have a cup of tea or a glass of water. I will be back. That's the best way to do it. Don't carry on with the broadcast, which is a problem, and don't panic. Just calmly say, I realize I've got problems, because what you can do whilst you're broadcasting is to listen to the comments you actually get while you're broadcasting live. And the interaction that you get on a live broadcast means that if somebody can't hear you, they will tell you. If somebody can't see you properly, they will tell you, and you can act upon the feedback you get during a live broadcast, and you can keep calm. And if you have to come back and well, let's put it this way. With majority of systems now, broadcasting software, we're talking about web-based systems here, about OneStream.Live in specifically, I can actually go out of the studio and come back in. Yeah, I could just refresh the browser. That's one. Or two, I could reboot my machine. If I'm doing a show with somebody else, like Blabbing for Britain, where there's 3 of us on screen, I can leave 2 people talking whilst I restart my machine and come back in. Even though I'm hosting the show will continue. We've got very robust systems these days. Take advantage of them. Yeah. So restarting, refreshing the browser page is 1, and restarting your computer is 2. And both those will work. Check it out first. Don't sort of take it for granted that your system will do this. Do a test live, and what you want to do. Okay, I'm coming up with things as I go through all these. What you want to do is basically practice. Practice makes things a lot easier. practice, and then when something does occur, as I say, I've done thousands of broadcasts, and if anything happens during my live broadcast now, then I stay calm and I just carry on explaining to people what's going on, and it works. If you explain to people, there will be understanding. Let's go back here and bring this up on screen. Okay, so keeping calm is important. Also, if I just remove this for a moment and I go here, planning a broadcast. As you can see to the left of me, I have an agenda for today. I've got bullet points that I'm going to talk about, and I'm just working my way through those, and I'm showing them on screen so you know what's coming up. But having an agenda for a broadcast means that you're in control. Just going live, if I had just gone live today and said, right, I'm going to talk about troubleshooting, live streaming problems, tips and tricks, I wouldn't have known. I'd have started off talking and things would have gone fine, but eventually I would have run out of words because I didn't have a plan. And the plan is simple, it's just bullet points. Those bullet points drive the broadcast. The problems in a broadcast can be you. Yeah. When you're broadcasting, make sure when you start that you're in a good mood. Now, for me, before a broadcast, I play rock music. I've got an Alexa at the side of me, and I just get her to play rock music for 5 minutes, puts me in a good mood. So when I go live, I'm up for it. Yeah. And every broadcaster, you want to be in the mood for broadcasting. Second thing is you want to know where you're going. You don't want to meander from one place to another. You want to go through the topics that you've decided you're going to talk about. So plan your broadcast. Just put down bullet points that you're going to talk to and just go through them one by one. The thing is you can bring it on screen to show people what you're talking about and as a reminder. Now, we've already talked about cameras and microphones. But are important, obviously. Also important is lighting. But cameras and microphones are basically the two pieces of kit we need for a live broadcast. If the lighting's bad, we need additional lighting too. On Sundays, do a recording. The thing with cameras is these days they are reliable. Have a second camera ready to go if there's a problem. Have a second microphone ready to go if there's a problem so you can switch over. In our studios these days, we can switch between cameras, we can switch between microphones. Just a click of a button. So our cameras and microphones are important. If I showed you a moment ago a broadcast we did the other day on OneStream.Live on YouTube, and basically I was joined by my friends. Okay, Nick Wood, Krista Boven, Joe Shepherd, Brigitte Limbanda, Grant Saunders, and Marco Novo. Now, before the broadcast started, we met up 10 minutes before the broadcast, and my guests are all broadcasters. They're all professional broadcasters. But even so, we talk to each other for 5 to 10 minutes before the broadcast to make sure that everybody's camera was working, to make sure that everybody's microphone was working. And we then went live for 75 minutes. And it just, because I'd got the agenda, we just sailed through it. And the broadcast from OneStream.Live with 7 people on screen went flawlessly. There were no problems at all. And that's the way it should be. But that's guests. And if you've got guests like the guests on this show, then professional broadcasters, they're all going to check their own cameras and microphones before they come in. And you're all going to check together when you start chatting to each other before you go live. If you have somebody who's joining you who has not broadcast before, this can be a problem. Okay, because if you bring a guest on screen, there are 2 things, a new guest on screen, there are 2 things that can happen if they haven't broadcast before. One, they're going to be very, very nervous And therefore, if you're nervous, you're not talkative. And when you bring a guest on screen, you want them to be talkative. You want them to tell their stories and to enthusiastically tell their stories and involve people. If they're nervous, then they can't do that. So if you've got somebody who's new to it, then do, before the broadcast itself, get together with them the day before and rehearse them. Take them through the questions you're going to ask them. Who are you? Where are you from? What can you offer people? Whatever your questions happen to be. And the broadcast can feed from those 3 questions: who, what, where. Just practice with them. Get them used to being on camera. Record the session so they can watch it back. So that when they join you on camera in a live situation, they're ready for it. They're up for it. You've already rehearsed the questions. They know what they're going to say. They've thought about it overnight, and everything will go smoothly. And that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get people to open up, to tell their stories. So if you've got somebody new, practice with them first. Because we all know, if you cast your mind back to the first time you appeared on live video, you were like a rabbit caught in the headlights. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know what to expect. And when you're nervous, then you're not at your best. So you've got to take the time with your guest to help them to settle down. Now, we're very fortunate because Zoom in the last 3 years has given more and more people the chance to actually broadcast, not out to the world, but to get involved in live broadcasting. And it's been a boon from that point of view. But there's still a difference between broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and Twitter to being in a Zoom call. Yeah, because with your guest, it's just you and them on screen. And if you're live for an hour, you want them to talk for 40 minutes and you talk for 20. That's the sort of ratio that your guest should be talking 2/3 of the time. And you've got to get them to that stage. Now, some guests will be very talkative, but most new guests won't. So choose your guests carefully and rehearse them. There's no problem with any rehearsals at all. Right, time for an advertisement. If I go here and I put myself solo, I'm just going to remove that. And we're going to bring this on screen. Okay, I'm using OneStream.Live today. And OneStream.Live is my system of choice. It's the best broadcasting system that I've used. And if I show you, just let me hide that for a moment. I'm going to remove that and we're going to hide it. Yeah, just give me a second. This is, you see, nothing's gone wrong. Something's just gone slightly, well, not according to plan. So what I'm doing is I'm going to live sales and I'm going to go here and I'm going to show this on screen. Okay. Now, when I did that, rehearse everything. I'm just saying rehearse, especially we're going to talking about assets in a moment. And this is one of my assets. It's in my studio. It's part of my live sales. And whilst I'm talking about this, you can see on YouTube, you can see a link. Now, OneStream.Live is, to me, the best broadcasting system because it's not just the studio, which I'm using right now. It's the ability to play pre-recorded video, which you can store on OneStream.Live or on a drive. If you're having problems with uploading a video, then do consider using a service like Google Drive or the Google one as well to store your videos. And that makes streaming a lot easier when you're bringing videos in. Right, and the third way is if your favorite system is OBS or vMix or XSplit Broadcaster, you can use those on OneStream.Live as well. Now, there is on Udemy a course all about OneStream.Live, which tells you everything that I'm doing today. And if you click link on YouTube, you will be taken to the Udemy platform. Udemy are the world's largest provider of online courses. This course has been created for you so that you can get the best out of OneStream.Live. it goes through every single option within the OneStream.Live control center and studio, so that you can, by going through the course, I'm grateful for the 5-star rating that we've had. You can go through the course and you can learn everything about the studio at your own pace. The course is yours forever. I'm updating the course continually. So throughout March, there will be things, and I'm going to be doing live sessions as well. If you're a course member, you get admittance to the live sessions for free. They will be on the web, because with OneStream.Live, the built-in HTML5 player, I can broadcast to my website, I can password protect it, and everybody who signs up to the Udemy course will be part of my training course, live training course, where you can come and ask me questions. So if you want to know what software I'm using today, you want to know how to use it yourself, click the link that's on YouTube now and it'll take you straight there. You'll see how I'm running the studio. There are videos which you can preview, one of which is how this studio I'm using today works. Okay, so back to me, and I'm just going to go over one final change to the studio. We're going to meet my good friend the turtle. If I go here, then you can see the turtle. I want to say thank you to Barry Loxton in Ontario for actually supplying the backgrounds. The software I'm using is vcam.ai, and it's the best background removal system for Windows that I have found. Okay, so that's a turtle behind me and wondering what it is. So let's go back to here and to basically the agenda, which is keeping us. So we've talked about guests. Okay, show assets. Now, when I started this show today, I brought in my camera with vcam.ai. I brought in the images I wanted to use, and I've got a video as well, which I may play during this broadcast. All the assets that I need, I checked. I brought the image on screen, like so, to make sure that the images look good. I brought this image on screen to make sure it looks good. I brought this image on screen. So all the assets that I'm using in this broadcast, I checked. Because the problem is that if you've got one missing, or even duplicates, then basically you've got problems. So do check assets that you're going to be used. Most of your problems you can fix quickly if you, as we said earlier, if you're broadcasting live, what you have to do is keep calm. Okay, but do check out every asset that you're going to use in the broadcast beforehand, and make sure, if I go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, and here. Every asset that you're going to use within the broadcast, make sure that it works. I'm just going to bring another one in, which is this one. Okay, I just want to go back a step. Okay, we spoke earlier about VPNs. If you do use a VPN, you'll get increased security, higher internet speed, and unrestricted access, possibly, to websites. Okay, so back to here, and I'm going to replace show assets. You've got to be sure that every asset that you're going to use in your live broadcast works before the broadcast. You can remove a lot of the problems of live broadcasting if you practice with your assets. And assets are videos, images, text, overlays. Yeah. I mean, I've got a conscious decision which I took to actually keep the OneStream on, so that you know you're actually watching a OneStream.Live broadcast. All of these things, the set, if you're going to have a set, then you've got to sort of set up your branding. Yeah. And I've done that. I've decided how my system's going to look during the live broadcast, and I can switch whilst I'm live. Okay. To change up, sorry, my iPad's just gone off. I can use different backdrops. Practice with these. If you're going to, what you want to do is to keep people engaged. And changing your backdrop is an easy way of actually doing it. Okay, I could change my backdrop to this, which is one of my favorites, and it's going to change in a second. And that's local gardens, but I'm going to come back to this. Okay, throughout all this though, do keep calm. So let's go back to here. All right, now in an ideal world, we would be able to play music. Yeah, we would be able to play music. But music is subject to copyright. And if you play copyrighted music on Facebook or YouTube, you're going to be taken off the air, because the algorithm, the AI software actually checks everything as you're going along. And if it disagrees with what you're doing, then there is no appeal. You'll quite simply be taken off air, and you can't do anything about it. Yeah, and it just happens. You're live 1 minute, and then next minute you're not live. Your studio shows you stop being live. Do not play copyrighted music whilst you're live. Having a piece of text saying that you're actually playing this music for a particular reason is no safeguard against copyright problems. Do not play copyrighted music in a broadcast. I've got music in my studio, which is supplied by OneStream. Other studios have a similar. If you use this music supplied with the software you're using, then you're okay. But if you're in a system where you're bringing the music in, then copyright is a no-no. Just don't. Yeah, you're creating problems for yourself, because you could build the wrong reputation. Yeah, and you don't want that. What you want to be able to do is broadcast whenever you like. So be careful, be mindful of music in a live broadcast. Just don't do it. It's the simplest answer to that. Okay, so back to our agenda. Okay, and backup plan. With the best will in the world, as I say, I'm going to let me put this back on screen for a second. I'm going to put it full screen. It says at the top of there, the vast majority of live broadcasts run without problems. That has been my experience through several thousand broadcasts. The vast majority of live broadcasts run without problems. If you do have a problem, then keep calm. Keep calm. Nobody knows what's going on apart from you. And unless you have a guest on screen, they won't. Yeah? You are in control. This is the whole thing about live broadcasting. You're in control. You set the tone of the broadcast. You set the quality of the broadcast. You make sure that your camera's working, your microphone's working, your guest camera, your guest microphones are working. You take as much preventative measures as you can. So, most of the problems that occur through live broadcasts can be prevented, but they are going to happen. If you have a situation where your internet signal has a problem, then you have two options. Is every time you refresh your browser, you're coming in with a new internet feed. So refreshing your browser can solve a problem. If the problem is with your camera or your microphone, rebooting your machine. If neither of those is an option, basically say to your audience, I know I've got a problem. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is bad or the picture is bad. I'll be back in 10 minutes time. and start another broadcast. Don't continue with a bad broadcast. So let's do a recap, shall we? I'm going to come over here and we're going to go through the list again, step by step, and I'm going to take the background off so you can see me as I am naturally. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, and the sun stopped shining. Okay, we did the introduction and then we talked about prevention. Check your camera and microphone every week. I do it on Sunday night. Connection problems. If you don't have a steady internet connection, consider looking at VPNs like NordVPN and Surfshark. They can help you, especially with latency problems. One of the problems that we do have, right, one of the problems that we do have is that your picture and sound from your computer, my picture and sound now, are traveling separately from my computer over the internet to OneStream.Live. Yeah. So what I see and what I hear, the two separate signals are going from my computer to OneStream.Live. They're then combined again so that you can see and hear me, and my lips are moving synchronized with what I'm saying. But you have to be aware that they are two separate signals which are separated on your machine and combined on the internet software. So you can get problems. Whenever you get a problem where the voice isn't synced, then it basically is a connection problem between you and the service provider that you're using. And the only way to resolve that is to improve your speed. It's unlikely that the problem is with your internet provider or with the software house you're using to broadcast. The way to do that is to check out a VPN and see if that improves it. Basically, if you're using OBS, right? OBS is a brilliant system, but you bring in your camera, you bring in the microphone, you've got to try and combine them. With systems like OneStream, you don't have that. If you're using web-based software, you don't have the synchronization problems. Yeah, just don't. With OBS vMix, it's possible, but vast majority of occasions, you don't have problems with live broadcasting. Everything goes smoothly. Remember that. Okay, you're listening to Steven live from Wiltshire in England, and we're just going through what I've been talking about today. I'm not going to say keep calm ever again. Plan your broadcasts. Like today, I've got an agenda. I'm going through the agenda. You know what I'm going to talk about. You know where I am in the agenda. Camera and microphone. We said you can have problems. Make sure you don't. Make sure your software is up to date. Make sure that your software and your camera and microphone is up to date. Do a test every week. Your guests, if they're professional broadcasters, they will check everything before they come in. If they're new broadcasters, do get together with them the day before. Help them get over their nerves so that when they do come into live broadcast, they know the questions you're going to ask. You've rehearsed it and they will be more enthusiastic about it. Show assets. If you're going to use video, if you're going to use images, you're going to use text within a live broadcast, do check it out first. Bring them all into the studio and check. And let's just go here. I'm going to put this full screen. I'm going to put this full screen. And I'm going to bring this in. Just a minute. Just bear with me. I'm just setting something up. I'm going to bring this in. Add to stream. I'm going to bring this in. Okay, I'm going to put that full. I'm doing this on purpose. My whole point about this is that what I've actually done is I've checked out all these assets before I went live today. Yeah, everything that you're seeing on screen, all the assets, all the images, all the video, all the text, I tested it beforehand. Do test everything. Okay, and back to the menu for the last time. Music, I've talked about music, just it's best not to. Right, I want to say thank you for watching me live. You've been watching Steven live from Wiltshire in England. I'll show you a picture of Wiltshire. Let's go up, down here a bit. And this is glorious Wiltshire. If I can find it, yeah, I got it. This is Wiltshire behind me. This is the Kennet Canal, which runs from Bristol to London. And this is where Angelica's walking this morning. Angelica did a half marathon today in a superb time. So Angelica I'm proud of Angelica. Angelica's taking part in the London Marathon, which is an amazing thing because millions of people enter, 40,000 can do it on the day. So Angelica and I will be in London, April 21st. Looking forward to that. I want to say a big thank you for actually watching live today. Take care. If you have questions about problems and how to troubleshoot them, let me know and enjoy your day. Bye for now.